Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. I have really important information that I need to share with you today. It is extremely important, so please take note. I don't know how long this video will be. It might be quite long because there's a lot of information that I need to get out that I have recently discovered within the last 3 days. So please make notes if you can. First of all, I'm going to link 4 videos in my description. If you can, I want you to watch these videos first before you are continuing my video. It is extremely important that you understand that what I'm telling you today is based on these 4 videos, okay? The first video is about the timeline that we are living in based on the Shemitah cycle, based on this period that we are living in now, and it's all got to do with September 26, 2022, okay? Because from my understanding, that specific day will be the start of the 7-year tribulation, and this video explains perfectly why this date will be the start of the tribulation. Okay, watch that video first, please. Watch this video first before you continue watching my video, okay? The next 3 videos are all near-death experiences of 3 people that happened in the year 2020, 2021, and 2022, okay? The one is about a man who died in the year 2020. He died of COVID. He experienced a near-death experience with Jesus. Jesus told him what is coming, and basically what is coming is another pandemic, okay? And he explains what he saw and what Jesus showed him, okay? Another video is of the year 2021. Another man died of a cocaine overdose, and Jesus basically showed him what is coming. Another pandemic is coming, and it's going to be a pandemic of severe skin lesions, boils, rashes, and people are going to be suffering. They're going to be pain, and it's going to cover 70% of the Earth population. Okay, he was told that it's going to be worse than the previous pandemic, which we all know has and is, we're still living basically through it. But in that specific dream, an angel appeared to him and said, only those who are sealed by the blood of Jesus Christ, only they will be spared this coming pandemic. And I want you to take note of this particular thing that he said, only those sealed, okay? Only those sealed. Make note of this. Okay, then in 2022, another lady died of endocarditis, okay? Basically, Jesus told her, in the year 2023, there is going to be another pandemic, and it's going to be worse than the previous pandemic, okay? He basically told her that it's going to be tribulational. Tribulation. I want you to make note of the year 2023, tribulations, and pandemic, okay? After you have watched each 3 of these videos, okay, please return to my video and I'll explain my findings. It is extremely important, okay? Now, I presume you have watched those videos before I continue, okay? So, based on those 3 videos of the near-death experiences and the timeline of the Shemitah cycle period, you'll have a little bit of more understanding of the few key points here that I'm going to go in detail with. Number 1, the time period of 2022, September 26, being the start of the tribulation. The year 2023 being another pandemic. Okay, and number 3 is the knowing that this pandemic is going to be consisting of lesions to the skin, or boils to the skin, or some kind of skin anomaly where people are going to be in agony. Okay. Yes, and the 4th note I want you to take note of is those sealed in Christ. Okay, so now I want you to think about Revelation 9. Revelation 9 talks about the first woe. Okay, now in my previous videos I have noted that when the tribulation starts, the first woe is going to start, and it's going to last for 5 months. Then the second woe is going to start, which is going to last for 3.5 years. Okay, so the first woe basically is the bottomless pit opening up, releasing the locust plague, which will torment mankind for 5 months. But note how it mentions in Revelation 9 that these locust creatures, whether it is actual literal locusts or whether it is another symbolic a symbolism of another kind of virus plague. Okay, just listen to where I'm getting at. So in Revelation 9 it says that these locusts are instructed by Apollyon, who is the angel of the bottomless abyss, also known as the destroyer, will instruct these locusts to attack and sting mankind. They are instructed not to harm any kind of grass or any kind of tree, but only those who are not sealed. Okay? If you trace back to one of the videos where the man says that in his near-death experience, the angel told him that when this new pandemic hits and people get boils or whatever it is on their body and they're gonna wish to die, only those sealed by the blood of Christ will not partake. They will not have this plague upon them. So take note of that, okay? That is what the angel told this man in his near-death experience. Now, what does it say in Revelation 9? It says that only those sealed by God will not partake in this sting, because it is said that this sting will be like a scorpion sting, and it's going to bring people so much pain that they're going to wish to die, but death will flee. And it says that only those who are not sealed by God will receive the sting. It is interesting how this Revelation 9 of this insect plague, this locust plague, this plague is I feel like it is really mimicking, it is really mirroring this man's near-death experience, because here I made some notes. Okay, so the 5th angel sounded. Okay, the 5th angel sounded, and that is the start of Woe 1. Woe 1 is basically the initiation of the 7-year tribulation. Okay, now so it says a star fell from heaven unto the earth. Now, if you watched those videos, okay, what if this star is that beastly creature that was sitting upon the horse, that had the name death written upon his forehead, who will bring this calamity, who will bring this next pandemic calamity, okay? What if that was the star that was fallen from the heavens onto the earth? Okay, just think about it, okay? It says smoke came out of the pit. Now, I'm still really trying to figure out whether CERN is part of this prophecy, okay? Because CERN was built upon a Roman temple that was made to worship this Apollyon creature, this Apollyon deity, okay? It is also concerning that CERN was gifted the gift of the Shiva god, which is also known as destruction. So number one, CERN has been gifted the god of destruction statue. Okay. Number two, CERN is built upon the temple of the Apollyon, which Apollyon was also known as destruction, as the angel of the abyss, or also known as the Greek word. Oh wait, yes, the Greek word is Apollyon, or the Greek word is Abaddon. I think it was Abaddon. It's just really interesting, okay? So it says that smoke is going to come out of the pit. So I'm wondering, what if CERN does something, or something happens concerning CERN? Like maybe something goes wrong with the facilities at CERN that causes a massive kind of like, I don't know, some form of destruction. Maybe something's gonna go wrong with their machine, because I mean their machine is massive. It is 100 kilometers, okay, in diameter, I think, or the circumference of their machine is 100 kilometers. That is a massive span, okay? And think about it. For something so big to break on a scale would be devastating, okay? But listen carefully. It says in the book of Revelation that smoke came out of the pit, and it was so intense that it made the air dirty, and it darkened the sun. So I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 2000, and I think it was 2020, back when there were massive fires in Australia, the fires were so intense that it blew over to New Zealand, and New Zealand was entirely covered by the smoke from Australia. It dimmed out the sun, the air was dirty. So, and that was a huge fire. So what if a similar kind of fire erupts from CERN? Maybe something will go wrong. I don't know. It's a possibility. That's what I think. That's what I'm leaning to. Anyway, whether CERN is involved in this or not, we just have to continue. So it says locusts came out of the pit. Okay. So these locusts could be what is mentioned in those three people's near-death experience. This locust could be the pandemic that is mentioned, because number one, these locusts are instructed only to attack those who are not sealed by God, okay? The man in his near-death experience said the angel told him that this pandemic will only affect those who are not sealed by God. It also says that 70% of the Earth's population is going to be affected. So if 70% of the Earth's population is going to be affected, then we can assume that only 30% of the Earth's population is covered by the blood of Christ. Okay. It also mentions that these locusts will attack for 5 months, and they will bring torment unto mankind to such an amount that they will want to die, okay? In this man's near-death experience, he said that when he saw people in the hospital, they were begging to die. They wanted to die because of the pain and of the lesions on their body. You see, it feels like what this man experienced in his near-death experience, what the angel told him and showed him, is lining up to what is mentioned in the book of Revelation 9, about this insect plague, about woe 1. And we know that woe 1 is the start of the tribulation. And if we're basing this on the Shemitah cycle of September 26, 2022, of how the tribulation should technically start, then it lines up. Because number one, the African girl who died and came back to life said that in 2023 there's going to be a severe pandemic, much worse than before. It also said that in her near-death experience that Jesus told her, he specifically mentioned the word tribulation. Okay, so these things are starting to line up. It's just starting to line up. So, if that is the case, let's hypothesize and say that, okay, if this next pandemic is indeed the locusts that come out of the bottomless pit, if and knowing that the locusts are woe 1, knowing that woe 1 is indeed the start of the tribulation, because keep in mind, the tribulation is a period of 7 years, okay? In the beginning of the 7 years tribulation, there will be 5 months period where this locust plague is going to attack those who are not sealed by God, okay? Then woe 2 comes. Woe 2 is that is when the 2 witnesses come, okay? They are going to be on the earth for 3.5 years, okay? Then we also know that after woe 2 will be woe 3. Now, woe 3 only gets initiated when the 7th trumpet is blown. When the 7th trumpet is blown, it is the initiation, the start of the 7 bowls of wrath, which get thrown out onto the earth. Now we know that the 7 bowls of wrath are only meant for those who have taken the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast only comes in the last half of the tribulation, which means once the Antichrist rises up in between the middle of the tribulation, okay, see, there's going to be a 5-month overlap of the 2 witnesses and the Antichrist. And the reason why there is this 5-month overlap is because of woe 1. Woe 1 consisted of 5 months, okay? So, where was I? So basically, within those 5 months where the Antichrist and the 2 witnesses overlap, okay, because it specifically says that the Antichrist is going to make war with the 2 witnesses, okay? So during the first 3.5 years of the 2 witnesses, they are going to prophesy, and no one will be able to destroy them. Their enemies will be destroyed by fire coming out of their mouth, okay? So no one will be able to destroy them for those 3.5 years, okay? Once the Antichrist starts to overlap, once he comes into the picture and overlaps the 2 witnesses, he is going to declare war upon the 2 witnesses, okay? Because no one else would be able to destroy the 2 witnesses, okay? Which is why the Antichrist comes up overlapping this time period of the 2 witnesses. He's given 5 months to destroy them, okay? And the reason why he is given 5 months to destroy them is because this period is going to give him the opportunity to become famous. He is going to rise up. The world is going to see that this man is taking a stand against the two witnesses. And this man is going to get it right. He is going to he's going to kill the two witnesses. And once that tension has built up within those 5 months, people are going to celebrate that this man was able to take out the two witnesses. Okay? Now the bodies will lie for 3.5 years in the street. Okay? So pay close attention that because the Antichrist has already had the 3.5, because the Antichrist has already had 5 months in power, okay? After the two witnesses come back to life, they will rise up into the heavens, and fear will fall upon mankind, okay? But the Antichrist will spin some story saying that he was able to get rid of them, okay? And the world will still marvel after him. The false prophet is going to tell mankind to take the mark of the beast as an indication of, in honor of the Antichrist. He's basically going to say, who is like the Antichrist? Who's like this man who was able to get rid of these two people who caused devastation, destruction, and plague for 3.5 years. And the people are going to marvel about this because they're gonna, see that this man was able to do it. And so, in as a way of honoring him, they're going to take the mark, and the mark comes in the right hand or the forehead. Okay, but the Antichrist will then, because he's already had his 5-month period overlapping, he will only have 3 years and 1 month. And that will be the entire full period of the 7-year tribulation. Now we know that those who take the mark of the beast, okay, which will be the start of the Great Tribulation, that's when the 7th trumpet is blown. That is when the 7 bowls of wrath of God get thrown out onto the earth upon all those who have taken the mark of the beast. Okay, now, I know many of you are thinking, okay, yeah, so the tribulation is starting. That means we have a month, less than a month, to be raptured, okay? And I'm going to tell you something. Before I knew all of this, so maybe like a year or two ago, I firmly believed that it's more likely for there to be a mid-tribulation. But then I got convinced that there will be a pre-tribulation, okay? But after doing this research in these last couple of days, literally, it just feels like all this information was downloaded into my head. But after doing this research these last couple of days, I am starting to believe something a little bit different, okay? Because listen carefully. In those people's near-death experiences, Jesus / the angels told them that those who were sealed by God will not get this calamity. Okay, they will not fall upon this pandemic that is coming. Okay, so if that person saw that 70% of the Earth's population received this pandemic, that means that 30% of the Earth's population did not receive it, meaning that 30% of the Earth's population was sealed by Jesus Christ, which means if 30% of the Earth's population was sealed by Jesus Christ, then that means the rapture has not happened yet. Because if the rapture had happened during the next pandemic, then who would be there to seal? Now, I know you may be thinking of, it is it is the sealing of the 144,000 of Jews. But 144,000 is not 30% of the world's population. Actually, let me do that now. Let me quickly calculate. So if we say that there is approximately 8 billion people, 8 billion people in this world, okay, and let's say there's 30% who are Christians, solely based on this man's near-death experience. Let's just go with that, okay. Hold on, what's happening here? Okay, so 8 billion times 30%. That comes to wait. Okay, hold on. 8 billion people, so that's 9 zeros, right? I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So that comes to around 240. Wait. Hold on. Something is not adding up here. Okay, yeah. Okay, sorry. So 30% of the Earth's population comes to 2.4 billion people. So that is not 144,000 Jews. It doesn't make sense. So that is what I'm trying to tell you. If the it just doesn't make sense, because if you look at Revelation 9, it says all those who are not sealed by God, they will be stung. Okay, all those who are sealed by God, they will not be stung. So how can people who are sealed by God be raptured? Who is left on the earth to be sealed by God? Now, we know that there will be people who will be left behind after the rapture, okay? But they are not going to become instant Christians just like that. Remember that the tribulation period is a 7-year period, okay? We know that it says in it's written somewhere in the book of Revelation that John is shown a mass of people standing in front of the throne of God, and the angel, or was it no? John asks, "Who are these people standing in front of the angel?" And the angel said that these are the ones that come out of the great tribulation. So we are only entering the tribulation now, okay? So if we are only entering the tribulation now, then that means that the bride of Christ is most likely to go through the first half of the tribulation. Listen carefully to why I say this. Listen very carefully. I know that we are not destined to God's wrath, and it is true, we are not destined to God's wrath. That is why Jesus says that we will be sealed. Okay? But when the great tribulation comes, listen carefully, when the great tribulation comes, okay, that is when Satan is going to be kicked out of heaven, and he is going to fall to the earth. And when he falls to the earth, it is written that Satan is going to curse God and the inhabitants of heaven. Now, who are the inhabitants of heaven? It is written that Satan is going to want to make war. He's going to try and make war or kind of like capture the woman. It's mentioned in the book of Revelation that the woman was given 2 wings, that she will flee into the wilderness for 3.5 years. Who is that woman? That woman could very well be the bride of Christ. Now, listen carefully. When the bride of Christ goes up, okay, that is when Satan gets thrown to the earth. And it is written in the book of Revelation, I think it is 12 verse, is it 14? It's verse 12 verse 4 or 12 verse 14. And that is where it says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, for the devil has come down. Okay? And when the devil comes down, that is when the Antichrist comes into power. Okay? If the church, if the bride of Christ was supposed to be raptured before the tribulation, wouldn't it say that the woman was given wings to fly, that she might be in the wilderness and be fed? It specifically says that she will be fed for 3.5 years. Okay? But it doesn't say that she'll be fed for 7 years. If that woman does represent the bride of Christ, it makes more sense, because the bride of Christ goes into heaven. The wedding feast is what is referred to as being fed for 3.5 years. Okay, that is my understanding. Okay, either way, this is going to play out one way or another. Whether the rapture happens, I know everyone wants the rapture to happen before the tribulation, and you might find a lot of verses supporting this. But I was a mid-tribulation rapture believer then. I was a pre. But after discovering this new information, it's pulling me back to the mid. Because it says, number one, that God's people will not be inflicted. They will not be inflicted by these coming pandemics. Because, number one, they are sealed. Perhaps the reason why we may still be here in the first half of the tribulation is because God wishes those who are not yet saved to see that these things are happening. It's still a chance for us to show the world that these things are happening. The books of Revelation and our current year is busy aligning. It's aligning, and it's happening right now. Okay? Which also makes me question one more thing. The two witnesses. The two witnesses. There's one thing I am not entirely 100% sure of. I've tried to do my research within these last 3 days, but the information is just so packed. I have not figured it out yet. Perhaps you know. But basically, after the 5-month woe, which is the first woe, which is the start of the tribulation, then comes the second woe, which is the two lampstands, which is the two witnesses of God, who will prophesy on the earth. So, my current question is, will we be on the earth alongside the two witnesses? That will be extraordinary. And perhaps when the two witnesses die, when they are killed, or maybe just before they are killed, if they are, once they are resurrected and they go up, maybe that's when the rapture happens as well. There are so many possibilities that this could turn out. I'm not saying this is exactly how it would turn out. I don't know. But I'm just saying this is currently what it looks like to me, based on the knowledge that I have received, the things that I've read, the testimonies that I've heard from other people. These things are starting to align up, and it just feels like it's just around the corner, I'm still wondering one more thing. Last year, August 31st, I woke up to a voice that said, "Today you will come to me." So I'm still wondering if maybe that's a 1-year warning. You know, August is next month. Maybe the rapture will happen next month. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I am on the fence of a pre-tribulation rapture and a mid-tribulation rapture. Either way, it doesn't really matter to me, because number one, if we get raptured before the tribulation, then that's great. If we get raptured in the middle of the tribulation, then yes, life may be a little bit harder, but we are guaranteed that we will be safe because we have been sealed by Christ. Note also that when it speaks of the sealed in Woe 1, it doesn't refer to the 144,000 Jews, because they will only come out during the Great Tribulation. Because during the Great Tribulation, the 144,000 Jews, they will be the ones who will prophesy to the world. They will be the only ones who will prophesy to the world. And through them, the magnitude of people who died during that period of time will be the ones spoken of in Revelation that appear before the great throne of God, where John asks, who are these that appear, who are here? And the angel says, these are the ones who come out of the Great Tribulation. You see? Either way, it's going to be really exciting. Whether we get raptured before the tribulation starts in a couple of months. If the rapture does not happen, do not be dismayed, okay? The Lord says that He is there with us, and that He is our anchor, basically. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter how much calamity we see in the world. Our focus should be on Him purely. And if we are raptured in mid-tribulation, then hey, it will be really exciting to see who the two witnesses are, to see them, prophesying around the world. That's gonna be. To be honest, I really want to see how they are, to see two biblical characters from the past, from so many thousands of years ago, in our daytime, prophesying, turning water into blood, bringing plagues and things, knowing that it won't affect us because we're sealed by God. So either way, this will play out really interesting. Whether rapture is before the tribulation or whether rapture is in the middle of the tribulation. One thing I am 100% certain of is there will be a rapture. And we will not be here for the Great Tribulation, because the Great Tribulation is only meant for those who are not sealed, who have not accepted Jesus Christ. It's really, really exciting, these things that are happening. I know I've rambled a lot, but it's a lot of information. And if you're uncertain, please rewatch those videos and then watch my video again. I hope I explained it in a way that makes sense. But if you have any thoughts, please let me know. Comment and I will reply. I would love to know your thoughts on what's happening, what you feel, what you believe, and such. So, stay strong in the Lord and know that things are going to escalate really, really, really quickly. A new pandemic is on the way. The tribulation is just around the corner. And who knows, the rapture might happen now or it might happen later. Either way, Jesus is here. He's sealed us. There's nothing we have to fear. So in the name of Jesus, be blessed. Have a wonderful day. And look up, because things are going to rapidly start changing, and we have to warn as much people as we possibly can. Be blessed, and let me know what you think.